So now we turn to the next Mishnah, and we now, what the pattern that we've had in chapter 2 is up until the whole of chapter 1 and chapter 2, up to Hillel, we simply went in order of the transition of the generations, the leaders in each generation, and teachings from each of them. Once we got to Hillel, we paused there because he had an extraordinary family, and his sons generationally, for a number of generations, carried the leadership of the Jewish people as a Nasi. So we simply learned Mishnayot in their name as we went down the generations, all the Rabban Gamliels and the Shimon ben Gamliel and Gamliel ben Shimon and Shimon ben Gamliel, etc., and to Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi as well. And then we came back to Hillel, and we had a number of teachings, beautiful teachings in the name of Hillel. Having completed that whole section of the Mishnayot, we turn now to the next recital in the chain of tradition, and we come to a very, very extraordinary man who, in many respects, is the person who saved Judaism and certainly saved the Torah. And that was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who was the youngest pupil of Hillel. And nevertheless, Hillel referred to him as the father of wisdom and the father of future generations. He already saw in his youngest pupil something of his later life and predicted what he would be. And by the way, like Hillel, Rabbi Yochanan is said to have lived for 120 years, the same span of life as Moses. He devoted 40 years to business, 40 years to Torah study, and the last 40 teaching and religious leadership. How do you like that? So you don't become a rabbi until you've been in business for 40 years, and then you've studied for 40 years, which is why you have such a paucity of great rabbis today. They have not enough rabbis have been in business, and as a consequence, they now spend 40 years in studying in Torah, and if you haven't been in business, you haven't been in the University of Life, so you've got nothing to say to people. Right. It is said that he mastered the entire body of Jewish learning in its entirety, says the Talmud. And it is also told that never in his life did he have an idle, mundane conversation or even walk 4 steps without going to Philip. So he didn't run the marathon or didn't do like that. He didn't go on holiday to Bournemouth. He was in the study hall all the time. Nobody ever came to the Beit Midrash before him. He never slept there, even ever briefly, and he never left it. And he never left it before everyone else had gone. No one ever opened the door for his disciples because he was always there. The door was always open, and he never ever said it's time to leave shul, except before Pesach and Yom Kippur. Those are some of the stories that the Talmud says about this remarkable man. But the most remarkable thing about him is the story which is told in Gittin, of the destruction of the temple, and that we'll read about tomorrow.